Sometimes you just get your 70-ton tank good and stuck. Or sometimes it needs repair, and almost every part of a tank above the road wheels is a little bit too heavy for the typical tank crew to lift. When you get to the point that your buddies in the platoon can't get your tank out of its problem by using tow cables, it's time to call in an ARV or two, armored recovery vehicle, with their high winching power and lifting crane. The standard US Army ARV for the last half century has been the M88. Today, it's in the M88 A2 form. I linked up with a couple of mechanics to discover what it can do. What is special about the 88, and it's unique in the ARV world, is it's the only vehicle built from the ground up to be a recovery vehicle. All the other ARVs, you start with a tank hull and you change the top half. You take it off the turret and you put all the recovery assets. 88 was built with M60 and M48 parts, but from the ground up the design is unique and bespoke to itself. So to give us the Penny tour, I'm joined with Sergeant First Class Pena and Staff Sergeant Durst. Yes, Durst. Just to go around and talk about the various different things that make the vehicle what it is.
Right off the bat, we have our spade put down as an anchor point for our 88 to relieve tension off the front of the 88 and to keep it static as we conduct recovery operations. What my crew is doing right now is they're pulling out their winch in order to get set up for their rigging technique.
So which winch is that then at the top? Because you got two winches.
We have out is the aux winch.
The aux winch's primary purpose is simply to pull out the main winch line. That main line is too heavy for people to easily drag any distance, so it's used as a lead line. You hook it around a pulley on wherever you want the main winch line to go, and you walk it back to the M88. Then you hook it onto the main winch line. You can then use the auxiliary winch to drag the main line out to the subject item. Tow cables?
Tow cables, so one of the things I've used. Tow cables, just in case if we have to hook up to a vehicle, especially if we're going on downhill or cross country, because there'll be one 88 with a tow bar on the front side, and this guy would be the anchor.
So even with an A-frame bar, you still need a brake tank?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go a bit further back. So, Sergeant Penny, has there ever been anything that you've encountered that the 88 can't handle?
No. Not in my 15 years in, 5 installations, I've yet to see an 88 tackle something that it couldn't do.
How often do you need 2 or 3 to do something?
Usually we'll use more than one 88 to lift anything up off the ground, like heavy equipment, bulldozers, or in the case of a catastrophic event where there's been a major rollover for a piece of equipment.
One of the more unique features of the M88 is the use of an A-frame for the lifting ability, as opposed to a more common crane on a rotating base. It does sacrifice some flexibility, so if you're, for example, changing out a power pack, you need to move the entire vehicle around with the pack under the A-frame instead of simply parking your ARV next to it and rotating the crane to and fro. What you get in return, however, is sheer strength. One of the requirements of the M88 is to lift the turret of the M1. As the M1's turret is today cracking 35 tons, you need something with a lot of lift. The same applies if you want to lift the front of a 70-ton tank off the ground if it's gotten itself stuck. Oh, there's your A-frame I see now, okay. Any other gadgets on here? I mean, that's a hell of a vise. What do you use that for?
Anything. Whoever needs to, bend something, just take something off, anything.
Do you have welding or cutting gear?
We do, but it's currently not on the vehicle right now.
That'll be on the HEMTT records.
On HEMTT records?
Yes.
So when would you have to use oxyacetylene type stuff?
Just in the case of emergencies, if a crew cannot get out of the vehicle's flipped over, and we're trying to get the crew undone, piece of metal or equipment is bent that's causing issues, we'll bring it out and cut it down.
So a piece of kit that the recovery crews in the British Army used to be given was a linear C4 charge that was designed to blow the track links if they simply had to get the track link out.
Yeah, do you ever use anything like that?
No, that's usually we can use oxyacetylene and torch to do that in that instance.
There's a reputation that if you get a tank really stuck, you got to call out the 88. They're supposed to give you a crate of beer. Does that actually happen?
Here and there, it's more on the back end.
It happens towards the end of the mission.
Yeah.
Once where everybody's back home and safe, that's usually it. That's when we can get our gift.
Well, I'm not saying they have a crate of beer out there, because I'm sure that violates all sorts of general orders.
Yeah.
But more along the lines of, hey, thanks for pulling us out.
Yeah. Later on down the road, yes. Once the training is over, we're back in the rear. That's 10 times out of 10 the crew usually pays back what they said they would give us.
So if you were to compare the maintenance and recovery job here with that on another base like Carson or Stewart or Bliss, what do you think are the differences? The good things, the bad things, what you get more practice at, what you get less practice at?
Biggest difference is we definitely get more repetitions, more missions out here at NTC compared to other installations like Fort Bliss or Fort Carson, where they have all the BCTs. Since we're constantly doing rotations out here, that's where we get the majority of our recoveries to happen. So the difference is our op tempo here being so constant every month going out, we definitely have more repetitions for recoveries compared to other installations.
I guess that also then means more opportunity to see different types of problems.
Yes.
I'm guessing that what you learn in mechanics school is only a small snippet of what you actually end up doing.
Roger.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go, a simple pull of a 70-odd ton vehicle. Now, of course, it can be pulled straight if necessary, but in this case, what they've done is they've replicated a situation where, for whatever reason, be it terrain or something else, they couldn't do a straight head-on pull, and they needed to use the pivot point, shall we say, of the pull by use of the snatch block. I'm sure there are technical terms that I, as a mere non-mechanic and non-recovery specialist, do not know. But there you go, M88, incredibly powerful vehicle, hauling one of these without even revving the engine.